Welcome to Dateline, everyone. I'm Lester Holt. It's Friday night, and someone you love, maybe one of your kids, is heading out for some fun. A few worries? Sure, about drinking, driving, hookups. But the two young women in this story found a very different kind of trouble. For each, the simple joys of a night out would lead to the most confounding and terrifying of mysteries. Here's Keith Morrison.
The woman in the ICU was barely alive. Her jaw shattered in a dozen pieces. A once beautiful face unrecognizable after the brutal beating, the rape, the fire, the fall, the massive, nearly fatal stroke. Someone thought she'd be dead now. Someone who'd fled into the night. Someone killing women. And this one, deep in a coma, at the threshold of death, is their only chance to catch him before he does it again. What happened here was spawned in a very dark corner of the human condition by that terrifying flaw that forces us to admit, yes, Virginia, there really is a boogeyman. And against him were the only weapons they had. The power of one family, a determined cop, and one remarkable gift in the face of evil. Here's where it began, 3 months before that scene in the ICU. This is the nightclub district, Denver, Colorado. People here call this part of town Lodo, short for lower downtown, very trendy. It was the night before April Fool's Day 2011, a warm early spring evening in Denver. Girls' night out. An attractive 19-year-old named Kenya Monhey was on her way to Lodo to party with some girlfriends.
She was very kind, friendly, outgoing, just a happy person.
Among the partiers, Janet Gomez, one of Kenya's closest friends.
And she loved to have fun.
Yeah, she loved to have fun.
Underage fun. No trouble sneaking in. They charmed the bouncers, flashed fake IDs. Kenya and her crew had a kind of an unwritten safety rule. Go together and leave together. Look out for each other. But on this particular night, things didn't go as planned.
We had planned to meet at Lavish. We went in there and she wasn't in there.
Kenya had gotten a ride downtown with two other girls she didn't know very well. Her plan was to meet Janet and some other friends at Lavish, but she didn't show up.
I started texting her and no response, and I called her 3 times, nothing.
What Janet didn't know is that Kenya and the two other girls couldn't get into the club. The bouncers weren't buying their fake ID cards. So they went to another club nearby, even took a few pictures. But they didn't tell anyone they were there.
And I sent her the last message about 11:30 and nothing.
So, when the clubs closed, Janet headed home without Kenya, who she assumed was with some other friends.
I thought, okay, they're probably just having fun, you know, and she'll call tomorrow. She would always call me in the morning.
Yeah.
Did you ever worry about her, you know, when she went out like that, clubbing and
No,
worried
she
about each
was
other?
very smart and everything.
She wouldn't take chances.
No.
I want to see how I look. This is not my family.
No, because though she loved to party, Kenya was known as the responsible one. Reliable, ambitious, hardworking, not flaky at all. She had recently graduated from one of Colorado's top high schools, was now considering careers in TV production or criminology. Here she is directing a student film. All the more remarkable because just 7 years earlier, Kenya didn't know more than a word or two of English. And not a single person in Denver, apart that is from her mother, Maria, who had migrated from Honduras a few years before, and when she and Kenya were finally reunited.
It was the happy day in my life. When I hug her, hold her, oh my God, I was so happy. And we went home and telling her how much I miss her. And she said, I miss you too, Mom, and now we are together. Nothing gonna separate us.
By the time Kenya came to Colorado, Maria was married to Tony Lee, and together they had 2 children. Now Kenya made 3.
I remember meeting her for the first time. The first words that she said to me were, thank you, Daddy. I'll never forget that, and she hugged me.
So, connecting with the family took no time at all.
I always thought about the song from the Brady family, how we all came together and became a family. It was pretty much, that was kind of how it worked out, and it clicked from day one.
And there's all the girls that are all the wonderful women in my life.
And for Kenya's little sister, Kimberly, it felt like the best thing that ever happened.
Tomorrow, Kenya makes 1 whole year in America.
I thought she was gonna be like the big sister that everybody dreams of. It was even better than what I imagined.
Better?
Mm-hmm. She was very loving and caring. I felt like she was like my twin. We text each other every day. Every morning, every night, throughout school. She would call me sometimes. She would just want to say, I love you.
But she was independent, too, was Kenya. After high school, she moved out to make it on her own.
She always wanted to be something big. She always wanted to be a CEO of something. That was her goal in life, was to be somebody.
She came from having nothing to being somebody. And on one of her calendars, it says like, study, 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 and then it says party on the last day. She was balancing her job, and she was balancing school, and she was balancing like her party life.
But on the morning of April Fool's Day, 2011, nothing was balanced. Something was wrong. Her friend Janet Gomez, desperate to hear from Kenya, dove for her phone the moment it rang, but it wasn't Kenya. It was another girlfriend.
She's like, are you with Kenya? And I say, no, I thought she was with you. And that's when it all started.
Started? Oh, it had more than started for Kenya Monhey. Swallowed up by, well, whatever it was, some dark presence haunting the happy, tipsy streets of Lodo.
Coming up, Kenya's family starts to worry. Had that dark presence, whatever it might be, come for their own daughter?
That's when I went into high alert.
When Deadly Connection continues.